Bless you. Bless me bagpipes.
God
Sweet.
bless you. You're back to slut.
Hello, welcome to H7 Bus. You are listening to Conversations on a Broken Couch. My name is Nathaniel Welch.
My name is Brandon Salmons.
I'm Scott.
This episode was recorded live in the H7 Bus Discord on March 17th, 2025. If you are watching the podcast on YouTube, you get to enjoy Scott this time playing World of Warcraft Classic on our
I'm
fourth
such a noob.
screen. How you guys doing today?
I'm doing
I am
alright.
doing. Go for it, Brandon.
That was my answer. I'm doing all right. Yourself?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm very tired after a day, but
Yeah.
it was a good day, so it's a good tired.
I'm
Yeah.
fighting a head cold right now. So
I might be too, but I'm not sure yet.
Well,
We'll give it a
an
couple days and see
undecided
what
head cold.
happens.
Yeah.
Yes, it's what's the word? It's I don't know, temperamental or
you got
something.
you got other concerns right now, like your finger being ripped into.
Oh, it's fine. Fine. It's like a little flabby piece of skin, but I'm good now. I mean, I'll power through it. It was just a
Yeah.
weird moment.
It just doesn't. Just the way you talked about it happening too seemed so uncomfortable.
It was super nonchalant and super quick. It just happened. For context, I was working on a prop plane today, and the way that the prop was angled, it caught my finger when I turned to go grab a different piece of tape, and it ripped a part of the skin where I said again. Oh, here we go. What was the
Here we
last?
go,
Was it
here we go.
147. We're not
147.
doing a counter
We're
this
not
time. I'm
doing
gonna
it
try
again,
my
but-
very hardest not to do it. What was I saying?
The way the prop plane was angled.
Yes, it nicked my my finger and it ripped some skin off. So, anyway, yeah, it started bleeding and gushing blood, and it was fun. I just stared at it, and then I went and I cleaned it off, and I made the bathroom sink red.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And then I was good.
Oh.
But yeah, bandaged it all up, and it doesn't hurt or anything. I didn't have to do any hydrogen peroxide kind of stuff. I probably should have, but oh well.
Yeah.
Well,
I used I think it's an antiseptic wipe. Is that what you do?
Yeah, that probably is good enough. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
Cool.
there you go.
You just gotta keep it clean.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
which is hard.
Your nose.
You can maybe.
It's hard to do when I work in a hangar where 50% of the things I do is sand.
Yeah.
So there's sawdust and whatnot.
Yeah. You can probably
Not
tell.
sawdust,
Brandon's joining us from his phone today. So what happened to your? You said the mic port in your computer is broken. Like, what happened?
Yeah, what happened there?
I don't know. I don't have an answer for you.
I'm just legitimately curious. How'd you find out? Did you try to play with someone or something and nothing was coming through?
I tried to hop on Discord with my younger brother, and my mic wasn't working, so I went into Discord to troubleshoot, and it wasn't even showing up as an option in settings. So then I went to Windows, and I looked at devices, and Windows would not register. Oh, that was a bad time to stretch. Sorry. And Windows would not register my headset at all. So I was like pulling teeth just to get my headset to give me audio, let alone for the microphone to work. Yeah.
Brandon, just a question. Have you ever actually pulled teeth?
You probably pulled your own when you were younger, right?
I'm weird, so if I got something that irritates me, like if say I got a hangnail, I will not let it be there. I will rip that hangnail out. I don't care how painful it is.
Metal.
Because I want the annoyance to stop.
Yeah.
So like when I was a kid, it was the same thing with my teeth. When my teeth got loose and started falling out, and like even way before they were ready to actually be removed properly, I would just rip my teeth out.
Oh my
I
gosh.
would work at them and work at them and work at them, and I'd just prematurely remove them.
I always remember
Last
that
grow
being
out.
a
Wow.
big deal for me.
And it's just like it's annoying me. I can't bite into things because my tooth keeps wanting to fall out. So now I'm just gonna grumpily remove this tooth. Yeah. There was actually one time in particular I could think of. I was in the back of the car driving on our way home from school. And my dad used to drive a, gosh, now I'm brain farting on the name of it. Uh, Man, it's an old Jeep, I believe. Anyways, but I'm
Really?
sitting in the back seat of the car, and I'm like, I have my hand like halfway in my mouth. I'm like working for all I can to get this tooth out. My dad tells me, "Stop! You're gonna hurt yourself." So I'm ignoring him, as you do, because
Naturally.
I'm a kid and I'm dumb. And we're going down Badger Road, and then we hit a bump in the middle of the road, right about the same time as I got a nice grip on this thing, and it
Oh my
ripped
gosh.
out in my tooth. And I ripped the tooth out like aggressively and violently in one jerk, and I bled for like 45 minutes.
Oh, that's because
Yeah.
it wasn't ready, dude.
That tooth was
Oh wow.
Oh man.
uh, it was awful. Hey guys, let's talk about destroying our bodies in peace. That's good.
Is that the episode theme for the day?
Destroying our
Destroying our
bodies
bodies
and
in
teeth. Oh man,
peace.
that'd be wild. All right, let's before we go too far down that, let's move on. Uh, hey,
Okay.
so it's been 2 weeks since we filmed our last episode.
Yeah.
How's the reading going? Anything new? Any same stuff? Or Scott, have you started reading again finally?
No, I've been looking at it. I need to finish that book, both of those books. I've been listening to the authors of the books talk.
Oh,
That's
Oh,
about
that's good.
it. But no,
Getting the author
no reading.
commentary is good though.
It's
yeah.
very insightful, especially if trying to work on writing, which is also kind of complicated depending on what kind of a writer you are. I've been trying to work on my outline. I told myself last Sunday, so not yesterday, but because we do these on Mondays, not yesterday, but the Sunday before, I told myself I'm gonna get my outline done this week so I can start writing.
Hmm.
That didn't happen. I got the first part of the outline done on Friday, and I still have two more parts I need to get done, so it's going to be a bit, but I'm working on it. And then there's all like these plot holes that'll come up where I'm like, well, this doesn't work. I can't do this. Maybe I need to rearrange a character bit or something, and it becomes an ordeal where I have to start going back to my big old like my cork board with all the red string and
Yeah.
going, well, if this happens, then this doesn't work, and I can't do this because the timelines don't match up. And now I wonder how Mr. Tolkien uh, was like when he was trying to get all the days lined up for
Oh,
when Frodo and Sam are
yeah,
doing things,
yeah.
and when Aragorn and all this is happening, and when they meet Faramir, how many days is it going to take for Faramir to get there to see Gandalf and Pippin? Can't imagine
Yeah,
that was hard or easy.
Easy. Yeah.
But yeah,
dude, that's a lot of work.
so no writing
Sure.
at the moment,
No writing, no
or
reading.
not no reading.
Okay.
Wow, trying to
No,
write, no reading.
no reading, but writing. Hey, that's
Yes.
that's good enough, I guess, right? Yeah. What about you, Brandon? How's the Warhammer going?
Thanks for assuming. It's going well. So I finished the Orc Series 1. That was good. Great ending.
Yeah.
And then actually, I've only listened to 1 or 2 books this week, or last couple of weeks. I've taken it slow.
Oh,
The most recent one I got into is about this guy Fabius Bile. Clarification: he is
that's a
not
sad
a good
name.
person. He
Okay.
is not
Well,
a
when your last name is Bile.
Yeah.
he is a he is a traitor space marine who has not fallen to chaos. It's a weird
Oh wow.
thing going on. So he's part of the Emperor's Children Legion, and
Cool.
when the rest of his legion fell to chaos fully, and like, yes, we're going to follow this evil warp entity and go into full debauchery, he's like, yeah, no, thank you, I'm good. I'll just be in control of my own life over here. And so that's what he did. And so he's like this, like, he's the traitor's version of Belisarius Call,
I do
if
know
you know
that
who that
name.
is. Cool.
Mhm.
Okay, basically, he's like the leading scientist in genetics and just big brain guy for the traders right now. Is the short version. Uh, but yeah, he's like the book I just read was nuts. So he met Trazyn the Infinite and created a perfect clone of his Primarch Fulgrim, and then traded that clone of his perfect Primarch to Trazyn in exchange for 20,000 gene seed samples.
I
None of
should
you,
ask what a
neither of you,
gene seed sample is.
a gene seed. That's what makes Space Marines Space Marines. You
Ah,
implant that in a person, it turns them into a Space Marine
Okay.
over time.
gotcha.
But yeah, so like,
Wow.
yeah, he was trying to like bring back his legion the way they were a long time ago. He learned about about these gene seeds that were uncorrupted, and his plan was take the clone of Fulgrim, which is his Primarch,
Yeah.
and then take all that gene seed and make a new legion, destroy the old legion, and then redeem the Emperor's children and like keep humanity alive in the galaxy. That was his plan. Good plan. Well, unfortunately, through the course of events, the clone of Fulgrim grew up faster than he thought it would. And
Okay.
not only did it have all of Fulgrim's powers and abilities, it also maintained all of his memories somehow.
Okay.
So it began to do what Primarchs do, which is take control of his ship and all of the men on the ship and lead them in a revolt against the Chaos Space Marines,
Okay.
Huh.
to the point where Fabius Vile lost all control over everything in the situation going on. And so he's like, all right, I have the gene seed, so I'm just gonna, hey, Trazyn, you want to take this Primarch clone because he's now become a problem and is dangerous to me and everyone around me? Thank you. It's just nuts. And
Yeah.
you know, oh,
Remind
that's my
That's
me,
Warhammer, right?
a Primarch. That's that's the Space Marine leader guy, right? For a
no,
chapter. Who's the
no.
Primarch?
You're thinking of a chapter master. The Primarchs are the Emperor's
That's all
sons.
right.
The
Oh,
Primarchs were hand created by the Emperor himself. There are only 18 of them.
Mhm.
hmm.
Play Twilight Zone music now. Um, yeah, yeah. There's only 18. I promise. There's not 20. There's only 18. But yeah. So that's what I've been reading. Fabius Bile. It's a really crazy book. Good lore. And
Terrible
yeah,
name.
it is a bad name, but that's the point. Is he's also like, I learned I got some lore wrong previously. He is probably in the top 5 oldest living Space Marines.
Oh wow.
He also has a moniker, the Clone Lord, because he can clone his own body to keep himself alive longer.
That's kind of a cool title.
So he's a level
The Clone Lord.
18 wizard.
Well, so he can create a surrogate copy of himself and then using alien technology transplant all of his memories and brain into the new surrogate body when he dies.
Hmm.
So like a kill switch. The moment his body
Yeah.
dies, all of his memories and stuff go into the new body.
Okay.
That's kind
He is
of cool.
he is 11 or 12,000 years old.
Holy cow! I forgot
Yeah.
how crazy the ages could get in Warhammer.
In Warhammer, yeah.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Space Marines
you got to think of it.
live pretty long. But like
Well, think
without
about it.
that anyway, like
Yeah.
isn't it that most Space Marines they die in battle just because of how long they
Yeah.
live, right?
They are what's called functionally immortal. So they're not actually immortal. They just live for a really, really long time.
Mm-hmm.
I learned of a speaking of Warhammer, Brandon, because right before I got on the call, I was on the Instagram and I saw this wee little comic about a Space Marine chapter that I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. These guys seem fun, and it's the salamanders. And,
they're awesome.
They're kind of neat looking, and I kind of like what they have going on.
The salamanders are one of the original 20 legions. They're loyalists. They are also the kindest Space Marines in the setting.
That's what drew me towards
That's
them.
really cool.
Yeah, I read a little. I went and looked up the wiki so I could just read a little bit about these people.
Yeah.
The only time I will ever look up any Warhammer lore.
The Warhammer wiki. Yeah.
And I read it and I was surprised. I was like, these guys vibe with me. I like them.
They're actually good dudes. They're genuinely good dudes. Normal Space Marines are very valuable, extremely rare, and very important to keeping humanity as a whole alive, and they know it, which is the problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
So very often you'll get a bunch of Space Marines defending a world of humans, but like, I'm going to let the civilians all die so that I can go kill the Orcs leader so the entire war ends, because they're trying to look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Wow.
Whereas the salamanders will go, little girl, is your doll in that building that's actively burning? I'll run in and grab it for you, then pick you up and carry you to safety and give you hugs and kisses.
Dude, I love that. That's awesome.
But then they hear someone,
they hear
someone 3 miles away say Eldar baby, and they bring out the flamethrowers. So
cool.
The salamanders really hate the Eldar.
Well.
Oh, okay. So them being called salamanders makes me think that they use a lot of fire.
Yes, their homeworld of Nocturne is actually what's called a death world.
That's awesome.
Meaning it is a volcanic wasteland that is completely uninhabitable by normal people generally.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And that is why their skin is the tone it is. Every single salamander has ebony black skin and fiery eyes as a result of their homeworld.
Just from living there and stuff?
Actually, even if they never visit the planet, the moment they become a Space Marine, their gene seed does that to them. Because their gene seed just had to... It's weird. Like, they can't fully explain it.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, they're one of the scariest looking Space Marines while simultaneously being the kindest. So it's a great juxtaposition.
Yeah.
They also don't get along with the Inquisition or the Grey Knights.
Anybody?
Or really anyone that well. Come to think of it. Well, that's not true. They get along with like the Imperial Guard and like good Space Marine chapters, but like one group they really don't vibe with is a group called the Lamenters, who are more Space Marines who are just jerks. They're just jerks. The Lamenters.
So
I think
metal
it's
sounding. Say that now. Metal. I'm from the 90s.
Metal.
I was in fact born after the 90s.
After the 90s. Just barely.
Am I the only one here born in the 90s?
Yes.
This hurts me.
You were 99, right?
98.
98. Okay. I'm a 2000 baby. That makes you the only one who's witnessed the turn of the century.
Yeah.
Which means Nathaniel might be the only one who witnesses the next one.
Hopefully not.
No, I'm gonna
Scott, we
I'm
got
gonna
good
live to be
genes. You might
100.
live 100
Fair.
years.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
live to be 108.
Poppy's still kicking, so.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Scott, are you able to drink coffee again?
No, actually, it's I started drinking a little bit of caffeine again, in the form of
Yeah.
Dr. Pepper.
Okay.
Yeah, no, my body still does not like caffeine
Does
very
not like
much.
caffeine.
It makes me feel really weird. So I've been staying off of it again. I'm sure there's probably something more going on there, but it's fine. I don't have money to go to a doctor.
Well, don't
Um,
die. That's bad for your health.
oh,
Yeah.
I've heard.
Yeah. So I've been told.
I don't know if you knew that. That's a crazy factoid, but yeah, dying is bad for your health. So I've been told.
I heard
Yeah.
on the news that dying is bad for your. I learned today in history class that dying is bad for science class, health class.
Science rules.
Shoot, even the math teacher told me.
Nate, have you been reading anything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know I said I was
Here we
gonna
go.
read Fall of Reach, start reading that again for like the third time, but I've not. What I have done is I started Darth Plagueis again, the Star Wars Darth Plagueis book. I've started reading that again. Now, Darth Plagueis is like the book uh, that if you're getting into reading Star Wars novels for the first time, everyone says like start there, read that. And there's probably other good places to start depending on what you really like, but if you aren't offended by the prequels in any like at all, like if you like them even a little bit or if you like them a lot, like I like them a lot, um,
Yeah, me too.
then that's a good place to start. I mean, because it does so much in setting up episode one and even setting up two and three, and also just the lore and what you learn about the Force and what you learn about
Oh.
Palpatine is crazy. It's so interesting because um, it it's a book about a villain. Like the two main characters are
Yeah.
Plagueis and Palpatine. So it's kind of split up into three large parts. Like the first part of the book is all from Plagueis' perspective, and the third part of the book is all from Palpatine's perspective. And in the second part, we're kind of switching between them. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but you start learning how these guys think, and you learn about the dark side and their relationship with the Force and all that kind of stuff. But what makes it so interesting is that Plagueis, at times, doesn't seem like the bad guy, even though we obviously know he is. But because we're learning the story from his perspective, and it there's times where like you can tell he's the kind of villain that doesn't think he's the bad guy, thinks he's
Yeah.
the good guy in his story, right? Whereas I've always said I feel like Palpatine, and a lot of it's from reading that book, I feel like Palpatine is the most evil villain ever because
He knows what
he
he's doing
knows
is bad.
he's evil and he is okay with it. Like he's just it's crazy. They always say
That's so
the
interesting.
villain is the hero of their own story, right? But I feel like Palpatine is knows he's evil. But with Plagueis, it's just super interesting. It's a really good book. It's got like political intrigue. It's got action. It's got lore about the Force. It's got a lot of stuff learning about Jedi and the Outer Rim and other planets and the way the Trade Federation and the banking clan works um and it's
Doesn't it
super
take place?
engaging.
Does it take place in the middle of Phantom Menace?
So it starts like 47 years before the Battle of Yavin.
Okay.
Each part
So,
is like a different BBY. Uh,
all right.
and so part
Interesting.
3, which Phantom Menace um would be like 13 BBY or something.
Okay.
Maybe no, not 13 BBY. It'd be like 33 BBY. Sorry.
Yeah. Wait.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah. I forgot
Yeah.
the Battle Before Yavin. The is not uh
Because there's
Order
like,
66.
how
No,
old
it's
is Luke?
Yavin,
Is
so
he
that's
20?
he's 20. So it's 20 years time
Yeah,
skip. So yeah, it's like 33 BBY. Um, is when Phantom Menace takes place. So that's where the third part is. The third part is Palpatine. You're following him through that whole movie. Um, and then part two and part one have different stuff in there, and it has the introduction of Maul when he comes in,
interesting.
how Palpatine starts training him. There's all this lore about Darth Bane and the Rule of Two, and Plagueis wanting to abolish that, and it's super interesting.
Oh,
Uh,
so did Plagueis know about Maul?
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Wow, I didn't know that.
yeah. It's this. It's not canon anymore. It was
Right.
Oh,
written.
that's lame.
It along with Kenobi, I think, were both written post 2010 maybe, and are thought of as like the two of the best Legends books we ever got. But Kenobi might have actually been the last book, the last like big produced book that was released before Disney decanonized everything, if I remember correctly,
Hmm.
because it had lore
Wow.
from Clone Wars in it. Um,
Dang it, Disney.
like
Interesting.
like it
Like it talked
mentions
about Duchess Satine and
yeah,
stuff.
somewhere in the Kenobi book it says like the Ben name came from Satine, which wouldn't
Wow.
have was only existed because she was brought up in Clone Wars, right? Um, and some other stuff. But Darth Plagueis is canon, obviously, from Revenge of the Sith, and we
Yeah.
know that the some of the basic events that went on that in the book still went on during Phantom Menace. So it's worth listening to whether you care about canon or not. I don't. I don't. A lot of my favorite Star Wars stories just aren't canon anymore, and that's just how it is. But I still like The Force Unleashed. I still, in my mind, I'm like, man, this is so cool. Uh, yeah. So that's what I've
I
been
feel
reading.
like Star Killer could never be canon. He's
Well,
just too cool.
the thing is,
He's too powerful.
his he Starkiller can be canon, but you gotta understand that he's not gonna be doing the stuff he does in the game. When
Yeah.
they were developing The Force Unleashed, that, and we're talking about LucasArts was talking with George Lucas about this game and this character. They basically said we're because it's a video game, we're gonna make a superhero game, pretty much a Star Wars superhero game.
Yeah.
And because it's a video game, it's gonna be huge and flashy because that's the medium. Like the way if Star Wars is being written as a book, uh, there's gonna be a lot of stuff about the Force because you can get into someone's head and understand
Yeah.
what they're feeling and what they're sensing. If it's a movie, that's traditionally how we know it. Everything's kind of balanced out. But if it's in a game, they just are. They're literally their mindset was let's turn the dial up to 11. So even when Starkiller was canon, he wasn't doing that stuff. Like he in the game, he's doing crazy things, but in the uh in if we were to actually see those events in a movie format, he wouldn't be doing what he was doing. But
Right.
uh,
They make a
yeah,
novel. I know they made a graphic novel of The Force Unleashed, but wasn't there a novelized version as well?
yeah, there was.
Okay. I
Um,
would be interested in reading that just to see how they described him doing all of his crazy Force antics.
yeah, I am actually super interested as well. Uh, as far as I know, though, the novel pretty much it like follows the same story, obviously, as the game, but has stuff in it, the stuff that was cut out, the story bits that were cut out for the Xbox 360 and PS3 release that only made it into
Mm.
like the PS2 and the Wii, um, which is a lot of Juno's story that still happened, but just wasn't. They didn't have time to feature that
Mm.
in the main the main release. But yeah,
I
I've been
see.
reading Darth Plagueis. It's a really good book. Working on a gonna work on a review for it and all that. So yeah, yeah, and then I'll read Fall of Reach next, and we'll see how that goes.
So next time when we get together, we'll have to find out if you actually read Fall of Reach.
If I actually have started, I probably won't have started it by then. I have
Well,
a,
let's hope to hope.
I kind of have like my year scheduled out a little bit in terms of when I'd like some things to release, and I've got a bit until I need to start Fall of Reach, so and in time to
Huh.
be able to listen to it and write a review for it. But we'll see.
Well, okay. Um, I had something that I was gonna say. What was it? Books. Books. I
Mhm.
wanted to start reading the Witcher novels.
Ooh.
I didn't know they had books.
So they were
Yeah.
novels first, and then the
Okay.
games, if I remember correctly, the games take place after the novels.
So it's not an adaptation. It's a continuation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When does the show take place? Or is the show the book?
The show tries to take parts from the second and third books, I think.
Okay.
Um, if I remember, it's been a while since I scrubbed through the internet to try and figure out what this was trying
Yeah.
to adapt, and why Mr. Cavill was so adamant on everything being just like the books. Uh, but I have seen the Witcher series, so I was interested in reading the books and seeing, what is this like?
Yeah.
And I like the idea of Geralt as the character, the idea that he's the monster hunter who usually sides with the monsters or lets them go and ends up killing the real monsters, which end up being the people who hire him. I kind of like that,
That's
And me
interesting.
playing Monster Hunter right now, I'm kind of in a Monster Hunter
In a
kick.
Monster Hunter state of mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all. I want to. I
Okay.
want to read the Witcher books.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd be curious to know how good those are and stuff. But
I want to get the audiobooks.
there's always room for a guy like arguing for lore to be followed on each set. There for sure is room for that. I know um, Christopher Lee was that guy on the set of the Lord of the Rings movies, and for the most part they were like there wasn't a lot of friction because Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh and stuff wanted to stay true to the lore as much as possible. But uh, but yeah, I think there's totally room for that kind of person on each set. It's just I guess in the case of Henry Cavill, they did not want that, so they did not want him, which is crazy.
Yeah, they have
There
some
was a
other guy
there
that
was
they're
a few
trying to
other
use.
things behind the scenes beyond just them not wanting to follow lore.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the reason they didn't want to follow the source material is because they didn't actually know the source material. And so beyond just trying to not follow it, they were also trying to make decisions like for creative liberty's sake that literally made zero sense for the character.
Yeah, that's
And so that's kind of a big deal.
that probably is why the Halo show is the way it is. Uh,
Oof.
what Master
The
Chief
Halo
does
show.
not have sex with terrorists. My lord.
Yeah.
Who
Oh.
thought that was a good idea? Master Chief does not take off his helmet constantly. Master Chief does not take off his helmet just to drive a car for 20 seconds and then put it back on. Oh my goodness.
Oh no.
Oh,
I'm never gonna watch it.
I'm not
Ever.
either.
Even in the games, like Master Chief literally hadn't taken his helmet off for years, right?
Well, there's he takes it off just privately. Uh and it's not a thing.
Yeah.
It's not like a Mandalorian thing of I never show my face. It's a
Yeah.
It's like Goblin Slayer.
it's just
He just-
he like Spartans are most because of how much time they spend in it and and how it's literally made for them. They are most comfortable in their armor. And so it's like
It's a walk
without
with
it
Halo.
everything feels wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that something you learned from the books?
totally. Yeah,
Oh, interesting.
because there is a moment in the Flood, which is the novelization of Halo CE, where Chief does have his armor off just for a bit, and it kind of goes into some of that stuff, and yeah, to kind of add on to the game. Um, yeah.
Hmm. My cat is like looking at. I said like again. She has her eyes
God,
in the
don't
little
think about it.
slitted eyes outside the window.
Your
She's on
cat's being a
watch.
gremlin.
Yes, a real goblin. Earlier, she was doing something ridiculous. I don't remember what it was at the time, but I looked at her and I called her a little. I think I called her an infection bubble. And then I sat there and I went, "Did I just call my cat a tumor?" Yeah, an infectious bubble. I think that's what I called her. In which she is not. She's lovely. She's a great cat most of the time.
She is a
She
little
kept
too.
me up 2 nights ago. I was up all night because she wouldn't calm down, and I think
Oh,
uh, I was really sensitive because of my lack of sleep. So it was a weird night.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, last
Anyway,
night, at I went to bed early, so I was really really tired. And I was woken up at like 11:30, maybe midnight is a better is more accurate. To my smoke alarm beeping. Um, and it was just beeping like once every minute or something. And I knew there was no fire in the house. I didn't care. I was like trying to go back to sleep, but the dogs were freaking out.
yeah.
They were freaking. They were like shaking in fear, and I'm assuming it was hurting their ears. And it was just one
Hmm.
short minute, like every minute, just a little beep, you know.
Was it
But
out of batteries?
I have no idea. Clearly not, because well, what happened is I couldn't get it to stop, and they wouldn't settle down, and Boomer like peed out of fear, just
Oh,
which is
No.
that's
oh
when the
no.
situation just it went from bad to worse. Okay, uh, but mom heard it and came, and we tried to we'll figure out, is it my smoke alarm? Is it the one outside the door? It's mine. Okay, we unhooked it. It kept beeping. We took the battery out. It kept beeping, and I was ready to just like
Yeah.
Duck Dynasty smash the thing, but
Hmm.
well, we went and hid it in the garage, and I cleaned my floor, and the dogs wouldn't sleep. They still wouldn't settle down, so I just grabbed a sleeping bag and we slept on the floor last night. Yeah.
Wow.
But
All
the
right.
funny thing is, an hour later, where I still hadn't fallen asleep yet, an hour later, mom and dad started going off too. So
Are they just low on battery?
I've no idea, because none of the other ones started doing it. It was just those two.
Weird.
But yeah, I don't know that it could be low on battery, because they still worked even with the batteries out. So
Yeah, no. So they're
I don't know how
supposed to
that
do that
works.
to. They're supposed to scream at you to let you know that they're out of juice and they need new batteries.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a thing.
Well, they picked a bad time.
Yeah.
Well, change your batteries.
But
Okay.
the fact that both of
Noted.
them
We
went off
will.
either means that there was something in the house that was causing them to go off, or they were all
Oh, that's
installed at
true.
the same time.
Which is
So
probably the
all the battery was
we
going off.
probably changed yeah, I think when we moved in here we changed all the batteries. So
Gotcha.
that makes sense. Yeah. All right.
Well, batteries normally last longer than that, though.
Well, it's been like 7 months or something. So, and
Yeah.
maybe we might have not done that. Maybe it was when they were when they put the house up for sale. The people before us. That might be it. Um,
And this should have been fine. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. All right. What have you guys been watching?
I promise this. I don't know. Maybe Last night I started watching uh, so Netflix put out because they do the Witcher TV show. Um, they put out an animated movie. They've done two of these, and they put one out called Call of the Siren.
Okay.
And I started watching that last night. I didn't finish it, but I'm hoping to. It's pretty good. It looks like it has the same animation style as Netflix's Castlevania and their
Okay.
He-Man. I think it's a different artist. It's not one to one, but it looks pretty close. It's really cool. It's
Yeah.
fun to watch, and it's got. Unfortunately, it looks like it's supposed to be a part of the show,
Mm-hmm.
the live action show, because they use the same music and they have the same actor who plays the bard in that show. But Henry Cavill isn't playing Geralt. They have the guy who does it from the video games playing Geralt.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's really weird to hear the bard's voice not interacting with Cavill's Geralt.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of cool to hear him, the guy from the video game, doing it.
Yeah.
So I started watching that. I finished DuckTales
Mm-hmm.
a couple days ago. Finally finished the last season. It was pretty good. I liked it. I wish they kept doing more just because it's fancy. It's a good show.
Scott, I just love as a full-grown adult, you are just like, man, I love DuckTales.
I have to hold on to my roots, man. All the stuff that I watched when I was little, Phineas and Ferb, cartoons. I love cartoons. I just love cartoons. I'm gonna keep watching cartoons. And then I finished the third season of Invincible,
Mm-hmm.
which came out on Thursday. That was pretty good. Very violent, very bloody.
Adult cartoon.
It's pretty good,
but
though.
not in the weird way.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, they had a couple of those scenes, but
Okay.
thankfully they have this. They have this thing they do where they're transitioning from some intimate moments where they have the title screen show up and they switch points of view to a totally different character, like halfway across the galaxy. Because as much as it is a superhero movie, it's also like a science fiction opera almost. Mm-hmm. So there's this whole like overthrowing the Empire, alien resistance kind of thing going on.
What if Kryptonians were not nice?
Well, it feels like Dragon Ball Z.
Wow.
It feels more like Dragon Ball Z than it does Superman.
Huh.
Because the Alien Empire, they're just the Saiyans. They're all about conquering planets to make it a part of their empire. That's that's the easy version of it. So while you have all these superpowered individuals working on Earth and trying to save the world, and you have main character trying to discover himself, Mark.
Is that his name?
His name is Mark.
That's a good name.
Mark Grayson.
Just a chill name. Yeah.
And he's so not invincible. Despite that being his name, the first two seasons are just I don't think he wins a fight. He might win like 2 fights, but they're never like major fights. He just keeps losing. And then the third season, he starts actually winning some fights.
Good.
And his morals
Good
start
him,
changing
right?
a little bit, which stinks, but superheroes.
Oh.
But it feels like it's starting to transition into more of a science fiction show now, which is kind of neat.
That's interesting.
More like Dragon Ball Z, but if Dragon Ball Z was written by George Lucas.
Oh, wow. I've never thought of that before.
I don't know how
Dragon
to
Ball
say.
Z wasn't Japanese.
Well, then it's Dragon Ball Evolution. Yeah, so I've been watching that. I've been watching DuckTales, Invincible, some Witcher stuff. Oh, and my wife and I started watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I haven't seen it in a couple years, so that's our dinner TV show.
Okay,
and it's
that's
fantastic.
replaced DuckTales.
Yes, now that
Yes.
DuckTales is over.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just switch to anime sometimes. So we
I know
watched,
that's one of your favorite shows. So
it is.
surprised you haven't
It's
watched
probably
it
my-
already. Actually,
I think of all the anime, I don't watch a whole lot of anime now. I used to watch a lot of anime in high school, and now I can't stand it sometimes. And to all the people who watch anime out there, I'm glad that you can watch it, and you might like it, but I don't like when you have a whole episode where you have two people that are sitting there staring at each other and all they're doing is talking in their head. Well, I can't do this because he'll do that. And this power of mine won't be able to counteract this power of theirs. And I have a card up my sleeve.
I
I can't
kid
do
you
that for
not.
a whole
Take an
episode, man.
anime. Take an anime script. Like just take the whole TV script of a season of anime and make it a book, and
Yeah,
that's fine.
at that point.
That's fine. But if I'm watching,
I
like,
I
If I'm
disagree
yeah, if
because
I'm watching it, I can't do it.
that book would be insufferable to read because like after the fifth time in 5 minutes of them going, I've been holding back. You're like, all right.
Yeah. At some point, it's
like
clear
there's
that they're
gotta
just
be
trying to
there's
make
gotta be given
episodes.
to, like, you would have to change some stuff. Obviously, it wouldn't just be
That's
one to one.
just
But
complaint with things like
yeah,
Dragon Ball Z, right? And I love Dragon Ball Z with all my heart. It is my favorite ever growing up as a kid. But the thing about Dragon Ball Z that angers me is the non-stop power scaling. Everything has to be
yeah, dude.
bigger and stronger now. It's like, oh, Goku and Vegeta beat an intergalactic alien that can destroy worlds by farting. What do they fight now? I know. Let's have them fight God. And you're like, all right, cool.
Now they're gonna fight God's God
Because yeah,
Yeah,
and go fight in
like
God's tournament.
that
I get that.
Ay.
I get that the fights are cool and it's epic and there's a lot of screaming and it's a boys' fantasy. I get that, but like also, shut up. You know why I like characters
yeah,
like Vegeta? It's because he is weaker, but he uses intelligence to win. I like stuff
Yeah.
like that.
yeah.
I want, okay, we cannot match his raw power output. How do we overcome this? Instead of saying, here's a Super Saiyan 55 GTX. It's like, I don't, okay, if your Super Saiyan title has more letters than my graphics card, I'm not interested.
I really still don't think they needed to go past Super Saiyan 2, because the way they even described Super Saiyan 2 was like you've it's literally just having mastery over the first form.
Yeah, it feels like that should have been the end of it.
Yeah.
But
It's
it's
like,
not.
Super Saiyan God, Super
And
Saiyan Giga Chad the Fifth.
and they, looking at the Buu
I
saga,
hate it so
they really didn't have a need to. I really don't think they needed to put Super Saiyan 3 in the show. And they did it because to show that Goku had surpassed Vegeta and had um really like learned a lot while he was in Otherworld over the last 7 years. But it
You could have done that without.
they still didn't need to add the extra transformation, because it didn't. It's not like it really did much for him. There was never a moment where he was powerful enough to beat the bad guys in that form.
Uh,
He needed fusion, or he
Unfortunately,
needed
that's not
Vegeta to
true.
stop the guy while he uses the Spirit Bomb. Like,
Unfortunately, that's not true because Goku very clearly says, I should have just beaten Buu when he was fat, when I was
Yeah.
in Super Saiyan 3.
he
'cause
could
I
have
could have done
then.
it.
He could have then. Yeah, but I mean, that's
That's
the one
another thing
case. But I
like,
mean, for the rest of the season, the rest of the arc, uh, it doesn't. It's not powerful enough. Or he can't.
yeah,
Or it's not that it's not powerful enough, but he can't hold it long enough that it just isn't very effective.
I agree.
I will
It's,
say, jumping back to the first part of the conversation about timing and trying to extend things, I feel Dragon Ball Z Kai tried to take out all the filler, all the lengthy stuff.
Yeah.
Even if you took out, I feel like Kai still has some of that stuff in it though. It still has some of the staring at each other talking. Maybe not for a whole episode, but you've still got quite a few moments where that happens.
it's mildly
If you
less
did
than
take all of that stuff out and it was just them getting down to business, how short would the series be?
Yeah, there.
Oh,
Do you
dude,
think it would
the
still hit
thing
100
is,
episodes?
the thing is, at the end of the day,
season 3 would be 5 episodes.
yeah. The thing
The
is
Frieza arc would be over in 10 minutes.
anime is
Yeah.
still anime, and that's
Yeah.
and it's kind of cool to have a show that you don't have to watch multiple times and have context from the writers and the actors in order to understand, oh, this is what the character is thinking. Like that's what's cool in anime. Uh, but and but there, like, I can't really watch it anymore because to me it is excessive and just like the inefficiency of the storytelling. Um, not that I don't that not that every story needs efficiency. I mean, there are some
Sure.
like Christopher Nolan is a great filmmaker, but I don't love his movies as much as some people because he's all about just giving you all content, no filler. And sometimes I'm like, dude, I wish you just held. I just don't cut that scene as fast. Like we're just going too fast. I want it doesn't have to be so efficient. I just want it to slow down. I just want his movies to slow
Yeah.
down and spend a little more time in the personal moment, right? But uh but I feel like those films respect my time. The difference between anime is it's not that they need to tell their stories in an absolute efficient way. It's that I just feel like it doesn't respect my time. Like
Hmm.
and it's and some of that is me just growing out of it and not being as interested in it anymore. But
Well, for me,
uh,
also for me, it's like
it's
we have a 30-minute episode. If I can get through a whole episode and it feels like zero was accomplished, that annoys
then
me.
why make
There's a
the
problem
episode?
there.
Yeah, why
Yeah,
make the
Yeah.
episode?
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
all of this to say that we're not dumping on anime. Anime is cool. There's some
Yeah,
cool
if
anime
I
you
am.
stuff
if you
out
like
there.
it, dude,
All
that's
anime sucked. I said it.
Oh, do you guys have like a top three?
well, Kai for
Uh,
sure. Dragon Ball Z Kai is my number one.
for all
Uh,
the reasons I just complained, but I love it. But it has all the issues I just complained about. Is Dragon Ball, the original Dragon Ball?
Yeah,
that's a
man.
good one too.
Let's
That
go.
show's really charming though.
It is.
Yeah.
I think more
Well,
so
where
than a lot of others I've seen.
Dragon Ball does have a lot of just like unnecessary dialogue of like people going, "Oh no, can the guy kung fu guy beat Goku?" And you're like, "We all know Goku's gonna stomp his guts out. Let's just not
Yeah,
pretend for a second here."
Yeah.
So there's a lot of unnecessary dialogue, but it's so fun. Also, Nate, you'll be happy. I just finished the King Piccolo arc.
that's probably my
Nice.
favorite arc in all of Dragon Ball. And I don't
The
just mean
first
Dragon
King
Dragon Ball.
Ball the show. I mean the franchise. Like the King Piccolo arc is my favorite.
The King
Really?
Piccolo
Yep.
arc starts after the first tournament with Ten Shinhan, right?
Yeah. So it's the
Yeah,
second
the
tournament featured
second
in the
tournament.
show, but the first one with
Yeah.
Tien. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
And it's great. Yeah, no, it literally starts like the day the tournament ended. They're like all exhausted from the fight. Tien Shinhan had that moment of like, "You're right. I'm not gonna be evil. I'm gonna join you, Master Roshi." That kind of thing. And then instantly at the end of the tournament, Krillin dies. Another person
Yeah.
dies. This is horrible. Terrible things. Goku is almost dead. What's
Yeah.
going on?
Someone forgets
It's Krillin
something and
and
like Krillin goes back to get it and
yeah.
doesn't come
Goku
back.
left his Dragon Ball and his staff. His power pole.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Krillin gets his next. Yeah.
And
You just
Goku
said that.
goes on his revenge arc. My goodness.
And then
It's so
fails.
good.
And then he meets
Which-
Yajirobe.
Yajirobe was a Giga Chad.
He was so cool, man. And then he comes around in the Saiyan
Dude.
saga and he sucks.
Dude, they ruined Yajirobe. Why? He was so cool.
Hey, it was all about for him. It was all about the fame. You see post Saiyan saga him doing those interviews. And
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It's
He wasn't
hilarious,
like
dude.
that in Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball, dude, Yajirobe was like, "I'm a wild man from the village and I'm strong." And you're like, "This is cool. This dude's a G." And then, like, yeah, you get to. It's just so upsetting. It's so upsetting, bro. I'm sad now.
Scott, what's your
Yajirobe's a
top
cool
three?
character.
My top three is. What are your other two, Brandon? Before I get to my top three.
Because I don't think I have a top three. So if you guys, I have, like, I haven't watched enough anime, but if you guys have
So
a
Dragon
list, I
Ball.
want to hear it.
I've grown as a person, but I used to really like Hellsing
Okay.
Ultimate.
All right.
Like, that's really gory, really, really dark.
Yeah.
Not a big fan of it anymore, just for the content in it, but I used to really like it. Shoot, there was a pause. I'm literally opening my Amazon Prime right now to see what shows I've been watching.
Um,
With a really unique concept. Oh, dude, Dr. Stone is slept on. That's a great show.
there you go. We talked about
It's
that
such
last
a,
time. It's great.
it's a unique concept, and I like that.
I think my top three. I think my number one is Full Metal Alchemist.
Brotherhood. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched the original too. It's okay. I just like having all of it completed. My second is I don't think Dragon Ball is in my top three. Any kind of Dragon Ball.
Oof.
But I think my second is probably Mobile Suit Gundam Iron Blooded Orphans.
Oh, dude, I totally forgot about
Yeah.
Gundam. Okay,
Yeah,
I have a
there you
list
go,
now.
Nate. There you go. The origin. It was okay.
Nate's gonna have to
Um,
amend his three.
And then my number three, I would pride myself on the fact that in my senior year I watched I think over 200 separate anime titles,
My goodness.
and I did not do schoolwork at all. That was a lifetime ago. Um,
And you still
Man.
had time for Final Fantasy 14.
and I still had time for Final Fantasy 14 and graduating.
Yeah,
Dude,
Graduating. There was
You
a
were
lot of the
homeschooled.
internet used on that.
it was fun.
Are we counting? Is it just Japanese?
Well, it isn't anime Japanese cartoon,
I guess.
right?
Yeah, I guess.
Because then people could say, I mean, there could be totally other stuff that you could bring up.
I would do
Um,
Avatar: The Last Airbender if it didn't have to be Japanese.
Yeah.
I'd go with the Clone Wars micro series.
Nice, the Genndy
Yeah.
Tartakovsky. Nice. I think my third then would have to be probably Log Horizon.
Oh, the database show.
Yeah, the
That's all I
database
know.
show.
This is the meme.
That one's cool. It takes the one thing I dislike about it is the first three episodes are terrible with trying to get into the series. I tried watching it on two separate occasions before I actually watched through the whole thing, and I couldn't get past the first three episodes because they're kind of boring. They don't really catch you. You know, the idea of a pilot is this is the episode that's supposed to show you everything that you're going to see in the show. It's the tone setter. That show does not set a tone in the first three, or it tries. I guess it just didn't work on me. But it's cool. They made a third season that I haven't watched yet. That was also 8 years ago that I watched that, so it was cool. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. What show doesn't have to be animated? Just any show ever has the best pilot episode you've ever seen.
iCarly.
What? Is it just for the
Yeah.
theme song?
No, the first for everything that I just said, the first episode set the tone. It did a good job doing that. It showed you everything that you were going to see in the show.
I think the show House did a great job.
Interesting.
Yeah. Have you seen House, Scott?
I don't think so, no. I think I've seen clips.
Oh, it
on
is.
Instagram.
It is very guilty of the whole trope of like we're gonna say overly complicated medical mumbo jumbo words, but they don't actually mean anything. They're super guilty of that.
Nothing wrong with that.
But Dr. House is one of the most intriguing characters because he is so unbelievably flawed. And he's constantly going back. Anyways, sorry, we're not talking about this show. We're talking about the pilot episode. Anyways,
Yeah.
I get excited about complex characters.
What do you got, Nate?
I got two. One would be the Flash. Uh,
Oh yeah,
that
nice.
a show that is traditionally known for having a really good first and second season, and then you know a lot of instability from there. But I remember we were on the way home on a flight from somewhere,
I
right?
remember
It would have been
this.
like a 3 hour flight, and
It was a
when we had
Seattle
rented
flight.
one of
Yeah,
those like whatever they're called, DG players, or
Digi
the
players.
Digi players, the thing you get on the plane to watch movies. This was years and years ago, and we had like 2 hours left on the flight, and I saw the pilot for Flash, and I knew nothing about it. Uh, but I said, "Oh, Flash is a superhero. I'm gonna watch this," and I really, really liked it. And I remember saying something to Dad, who was sitting next to me after he woke up from a nap or something. Hey, this would be
Hmm.
you'd probably like this show. Like, we should totally watch this, because I watched it as a kid, super young. Maybe I don't even know if I should have been watching it yet. And but it was clean. Like, there was no stuff in it that I thought was bad, and I was like, "Oh, this is super cool." And I totally forgot about it until one day I came home from an after-school program, uh, whatever it was, some kind of probably like team sports thing. And you and Dad were watching it, and we're on like the fourth episode. And this was 9 months later or something. And uh, and then we ended up the whole family just sat down and watched the whole first season, and we watched the second season, and it was in the middle of the second season, and so we bought the season pass on iTunes and kept watching, and then from
We got
there
all of
we
it.
kind of
Oh
slowly fell
man,
out of the show. But yeah,
I
that
remember
was a really
that
good
flight.
pilot.
I remember looking over and watching you watch it because at the same time we were going through a really bad storm in
Oh
that plane, and Abby and I were sitting in our chairs clutching the handrails because we were deathly afraid of flying at the time.
yeah,
Is this the one time Nathaniel was on a flight and he wasn't just like dying?
Yeah,
probably.
one of the few
Yeah,
memories I have.
yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh, I hate it now. The other best pilot, and this is better than the Flash pilot, is Strange New Worlds, episode 1. There you go.
There we
Uh,
go.
Time.
yeah, that is for sure not only my second favorite Star Trek episode ever, but I think it is the
Wow,
best pilot of all the shows as well. Of all the Star Trek shows, is
interesting.
Strange New Worlds episode 1.
Um, it's pretty good. I can't wait for the next one to come out. The next
Yeah,
Strange New
so
World
excited.
season.
So excited.
Yeah, that. So I guess that's what we've been watching then.
Well, we haven't talked about what Brandon's been watching.
Oh, wow! We've just been
We just
talking
talked
for
about
so
what
long.
you've been
I
watching,
still have
Scott.
memories. Sorry. Here's the thing. Here's the truth. I'm trying really hard to focus on talking and also playing WoW because my brain does. I don't have ADHD like Brandon does. It's a lot harder for me to do this.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And the worst part is in game. So I'm holding this conversation and typing to him in game and playing the game.
Yeah, really what's happening is I'm following Brandon around in game because I'm having a hard time focusing.
Yeah.
Don't worry, guys. We're professionals at this.
So what have
I
you
don't know
been
how
watching, Brennan?
YouTubers do it, man.
Not much actually. This last week or two, I just watched some Dragon Ball. Rewatching Dragon Ball, I should say. I watched a couple of war movies. Nothing crazy. I haven't really watched much. Scott hasn't read. I haven't really watched much.
Whoa.
I've been boring. How about you, Nate?
Dude. Oh, I got so much. So we'll get to this when we talk about games, but I finished Final Fantasy VII.
Nice.
And
Oh,
that iTunes card I was gonna spend on Justice League, I spent on Advent Children Complete. I bought it on
Wow.
Friday, and I've watched it twice since Friday. Uh, and I, my goodness, I love that movie.
Really?
It's got problems. It's got problems,
Yes.
but here's the deal. I don't know if you've seen the complete edition, Scott. Uh,
Yeah, I have.
okay, okay.
It's on Netflix.
Here's the deal. Like, it's got some problems, but it was clearly made, and even the intro of the movie, the way it when it in the intro it says for those who have loved this world and the characters in it. It straight up says something like that. And it was very clearly made for people that love Final Fantasy VII, that loved the game, and at the same time, even the way it's paced and the way they introduce story and stuff, I feel like you need to have played the game to really have a grasp on. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, as a movie that like, as a Final Fantasy VII fan, if their goal was to make a good movie for Final Fantasy VII fans, they got like a 9 out of 10. But when you're trying to look at it as like objectively from a critical standpoint that you would compare other movies to, it's not a 9 out of 10. Uh, Watching it as someone who hasn't played the game or something like that, but I really like it. It's my favorite video game movie. I think. I like it more than Sonic or whatever. But I've been watching that. I've written a whole review on it that will be going up eventually. I'm probably gonna watch it again tomorrow, just to make sure I agree with everything I've written. So yeah,
What's your favorite fight scene in the game?
in the movie,
In the movie, my bad. Yeah.
the Tifa in the church, no question.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I like the motorcycle fight with I think it's Kadaj and
Hmm.
Yazoo. That one's pretty good. I like that.
Which,
Oh.
like, at the beginning of the movie or at the end?
No, at the after the fight with Bahamut Rip.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, it's the yeah. I
I
like
know what you're talking about.
that fight. That one's fun.
Yeah, I feel like that
Just
that
because
one
I
went
like how
on
they
for a
have
little
this.
too long
It's so
for me, but
stupid. But it's so much fun just to see them with the giant motorcycles doing absurd
yeah,
things.
yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah. They totally and I think it's probably I think the moments where the film works the best is when they do try to limit themselves in terms of the action, where they limit the choreography and the fighting to being really grounded. That's why Tifa in the Church works so well. Is the coolest moment in that is where there is this crazy like Dragon Ball Z anime moment where she balances herself on a wall after getting thrown
yeah.
at it. She like does a spin and catches herself, and
Ugh.
the wind. There's a moment and the flowers move, and uh, that's and then there's a scene in the final battle where Cloud and you know are
Yeah.
are fighting, but they're straight up just in a building. It's not
Mm-hmm.
they're not jumping off stuff. It's not Dragon Ball Z fighting in air. Cloud can basically fly. Like it's that kind of thing. I think that's where the movie. Those are some of the moments for me where it works the best. But I do think it's a good idea that they went the direction they did and didn't limit themselves. Um, because I mean, once again, it fits the medium.
Yeah.
It fits the style of story they were going for, and I think have trying to make stuff exactly like the game, um, I think could have got a little boring, even if it possibly could have got possibly boring depending on how they did it. But um, I prefer the boldness with which they decided this is what the movie's going to be. This is how the action's going to be. This is just the style. Yeah, I really like it. Uh,
Hmm.
so I've been watching that. It's a good.
Interesting.
I think it's a good movie. I objectively, critically, it's not great, but um, yeah, there'll be a video on that. And and if you're wondering,
I I will happily
yeah,
absorb that video.
yeah, it's long. It's gonna be long for a show
Oh, the movie's
that for
long.
the debut episode of a show that I'm calling Human, a movie critic. It's kind of like it's not a few minutes
Is
like it's meant to be.
is that all
Uh,
you've been watching? Is just that?
Though that's all I've like
On repeat
the
nonstop.
no, I've only watched it twice in the past 3 days or whatever. But no, I've watched other stuff obviously, like listen to a podcast on YouTube or watch this thing or that, but nothing like else TV or movie wise. But having children, so
Gotcha.
yeah,
Dude, You know what's great about having to do Discord on my phone for the podcast?
What?
I can get up and walk around.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was random.
No, I suppose nothing's stopping you from multitasking.
Just mute when you're in the bathroom. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna
My phone
die.
won't pick that up anyways. No, I'm actually getting more hot tea.
Oh, good.
I've drank like
How many tubs are you down?
I've drank like a 3/4 of a gallon today.
Wow, man.
That's
I
what
mean,
I've drank
Brandon
a
does
lot.
whenever he gets sick. Is he just drinks a lot of tea.
Yeah, it works, dude.
Yeah.
Get a tablespoon or a teaspoon of honey per. I get a large cup, a teaspoon of honey per cup. Pretty sure I'm gonna get diabetes doing this, but oh well.
If it's sweet tea.
No.
No. It's just honey with green tea bags.
Yeah.
I think you'll be okay.
I think you'll be fine.
It's
You'll be
just
just fine. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. All right. Moving on.
I don't think we had a whole lot to say
Video
there.
games. Video games. Oh. Real fast. And what I'm going to see next. Dad and I are probably going to go see Captain America. So I'll let y'all
Cool.
know what I think. Yeah, we were talking to someone at a life group we're hosting. Who had seen it and said it was pretty good. And I know, Scott, you've said it was pretty good. So we,
Yeah, I was talking with Dad about it. On
our
Tuesday.
theaters here, we found like a. I was going through some stuff and I found a old Fandango card that's still good. And our theaters here take those. So yeah, we're probably gonna go see it eventually, sometime within the next few weeks. But yeah, video games. Scott,
Well,
So this one I'm excited for.
do you want to go first, Brandon?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
go for it.
Go for it.
So-
I'll go after you.
I played this game growing up called Fate. And
Yeah.
they remastered it recently. But they didn't just remaster the base game, they remastered all of them in one bundle. So the entire Fate series is playable with a modern UI engine and all of that. And it looks pretty and it plays well. And it's fun. And now I have one, so I've been playing that a lot. I've already put like 20 hours into it. Yeah.
Cool. I've seen the Fate games. I haven't played any of them.
I think I've watched you, Brandon, play one for a little bit. But
Yeah.
But
It's like Diablo but for kids.
Interesting.
And has a better narrative somehow. So
I've
taking
never
shots
played
at
Diablo. I
It's
want to play
overrated.
Diablo 2 eventually, just because that's the famous one. But
I have in-laws who've played Diablo, but I have not.
Diablo is huge because it gives you nothing but dopamine constantly the whole time you play it. That's all it does. Yeah, so I've been playing that. And then update, Quinn and I started a challenge again for Risk of Raid 2 to get everything in the logbook maxed out.
yeah,
I am at
you mentioned that last
92%.
time. Okay.
Yep. I finally got the loader challenges that I hate doing so much.
Hey, nice.
Yeah. I don't like loader. Not a big fan.
Yeah,
But you're almost done.
that's-
So
Yeah,
That's
I
cool.
think I only have one challenge and it was bugged for me when I tried to do it. It made me sad. So, yeah.
I'd be sad too. Nobody
Alright.
likes bugs.
I've been playing Monster Hunter.
Yeah,
When I've
how's that
had
been
time.
going?
I beat the main story.
Okay.
Nathaniel, the gore fight is just as good as it was in 4. He just looks better. It's cool. It was really cool getting to fight some of the older monsters, like the Yan Kutku.
Yeah, yeah.
Seeing
From the
that
first game.
monster in this like the realistic style is weird, but it's cool. It's cool. Um, the Gormagala is so much fun. But I beat the main story, so now I'm kind of just noodling around and
Hmm.
killing things and getting to as strong as I can get because they're putting out more patches and they're going to keep putting out more monsters. They're dropping the Mizutsune in a couple weeks, which Nathaniel, you and I have talked about how you really liked the water combat from Monster Hunter 3.
Yeah, I think it was a mistake to not reintroduce that in 4 in the other games. It they just they went, okay, where's the how's the next way place my English is my first language, I promise. They went, what's the next way to innovate? What's the next direction to bring
Yeah,
Monster Hunter in? We've been doing land fighting, and let's add water fighting. And what makes it so interesting is you're not all, when you're in the water, that's not your turf. If you're fighting a water creature in the water, you are in its turf.
yeah, you're in
And
their
it
turf.
has the advantage. You don't have the advantage. And I know there were some issues with the camera, which is not unfamiliar to Monster Hunter, but you were able to figure it out. You were able to deal with it. I think it was still fun. I think it really could have been iterated on. And so not having that in the other games, even though I think Monster Hunter 4 U is the best Monster Hunter game I've played, it's my favorite. Uh, they it felt like a step backwards, not having not being able to
Yeah,
jump in that water anymore. Going back to the fighting a monster where it took you back to the area from Monster Hunter 3, the main area, and not being able to get in the water, it felt like they it felt like Star Wars Episode 9 after Star Wars Episode 8
right.
did all these bold things. Whatever you think about it or not, whether you like it or not, it was bold. It's this is the story, this is what we're doing. And then 9 spent so much time, I felt like, saying sorry for that or trying to backtrack on some of that stuff. It where it didn't feel like it really did much new. Um, and so I've been disappointed every new Monster Hunter release. I'm like, man, where's the water combat at? Bring it
Well,
back.
they don't have water combat in this game,
I saw the
but
video you sent me.
you can swim now.
But they had little
Um,
things like that in World too, where you could jump in the water and
it was only where you could just dive and it would
yeah.
take you to a new place. But in this, you can actually kind of dive and steer yourself around and look at things and capture like fish and stuff underwater. So
Allow you to explore.
I don't know. I look at that. Yeah, while you explore. I looked at that and it felt like they're trying again, but you can't pull your weapon out or anything. But I'm suspecting that when they get the next expansion, like they did with Iceborne and Sunbreak in the
Hmm.
last one, Sunbreak. Um,
Something, yeah.
I bet it's going to be water based. That's going to be so much fun because they have all these water leviathans. Well, all the leviathans are all water leviathans. No, anyway,
Water dragons.
they have a they have a monster. It's I don't think it's an it might be an elder dragon. They never call it elder. They don't in the first two uh, the, uh, the the low rank and the high rank. They don't have elder dragons at all.
Oh wow.
They don't say the word elder dragon at all. They introduce a new type of monster. There's still tempered monsters and frenzied monsters, and all of that fun stuff that comes with that. But they don't say Elder Dragon. But I'm pretty sure there's at least three monsters. The Gormagala is supposed to be an Elder Dragon, right?
Uh,
When
no.
it
The
grows up.
Shigaru is a yeah.
Yeah.
When it's grown up, it's an elder dragon. Yeah.
Um, I'm thinking that one's going to come too. I'm pretty sure. I mean, every game that the Gormagala
Please.
showed up, they put the Shigaru in there
Yeah.
and the
It's
frenzy,
still my
chaotic,
favorite
crazy
monster
one.
to fight in both
Um,
forms. Yeah.
uh, yeah, I've been playing Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Anyway, just uh, to make a very long rant short is I think they're going to do more water combat. It was cool to be able to go in the water a little bit. That was my discovery this last week.
Hmm.
And I'm just excited to keep playing more Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then I've been playing WoW, and I keep dying, but
Well,
yeah,
I'm not at my
WoW.
desk. Are you dying on repeat right now?
I've died 4 times. I'm not. I'm not. I think I'm in a place that's a little too high level for me right now. Maybe.
You have
I don't
healing
know.
potions.
I'm
You
also
have
kind of
healing
distracted talking about Monster Hunter. So
as you do.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Uh,
was wondering how it was going for you, Scott, because I heard some things. I saw a little, like, watched a little spoiler for your review on it.
mhm.
That kind of bummed me out a little bit. So what I've heard is it's got the best story of any Monster Hunter game. That's cool. I've also heard that
Saying
it's
much though.
kind of pretty focused and restrictive in terms. It's kind of like you got to just get the story done before you can do before you have like total freedom in terms of some
Yeah,
things, which that makes sense. That's fine. Because it sounds like the way the game has been designed is that this is supposed to be a a big introduction point for people. They were going, this is going to be a lot of people's first Monster Hunter game. So they've streamlined a ton of stuff, which is cool because they're making stuff, making the game approachable for a lot of people. But at the same time, from what I've heard, I feel like they are. And anytime you make a change like that, anytime you change mechanics, anytime you streamline stuff, anytime you uh, break away from what you've been doing for a really, really long time, you're going to alienate some people. And I feel like
sure.
I haven't played the game yet, so I don't know for sure. But I feel like I'm going to be one of those people. Like, I still will like the game, I still will have fun because it's Monster Hunter, but paintball's not existing anymore.
They're back in this game.
But, but am
But I
I
get what
am
you
I
mean.
wrong in hearing that like your pet will track the monster for you or whatever?
Hmm. Yeah,
So
you always know where the monsters are located.
yeah, which I don't like that. I mean,
Yeah.
I liked having to work to find the monster and figure out its weaknesses and this and that kind of thing. Uh,
Hmm.
learning knowledge, getting knowledge of the creature, experimenting as you fight it. Um, and there's some other things I heard. I'm sure it's still a great game, and I know whenever I pick it up, I am for sure gonna have a good time. But I've just heard some stuff that uh, made me go, I wonder how Scott's doing because you've been playing Monster Hunter as long as I have. So,
So there were actually some spots playing through the game where I thought Nathaniel's not gonna like that. He's gonna think this is kind of lame, um, because we've also talked about how you don't like it when the controller is taken out of your hands.
which I'm a
Um,
little, I'm better with that nowadays. If it's good, if it's a well-made cutscene and a good story. I just played through an entire Final Fantasy game, most of which is reading text, but
yeah,
it's an incredible game. So I'm there for the story, so I was fine with all that. Um, but continue what you were saying, Scott.
they have moments in the game where it's not like a controller's totally taken out of your hands, but it feels um, like you get on your bird mount thing and it has them follow a track. It's like Pokemon Snap. There's a railroad track that
Okay.
your thing is attached to, and so you don't control it. You don't. Well, sometimes you can control it. You have a very small amount of. Do you want to go left or
Hmm.
right? Um, but at least in the beginning of the story, when you're going to all the different regions and meeting all the new towns and people, there are moments where you're following your handler, and that's pretty much what happens. And then they talk.
Okay.
You can still look around. You can still pull. You have like a grapple hook thing, so you can pull items to you now.
Yeah.
So as you're touring these locales, you can pull items or you can capture things, or there will be little dialogue options that'll show up, so you can say, "Hey, I prefer this" or "I prefer that." That's cool, but I totally didn't like having the controller taken away from me because I
Yeah.
was gonna follow these people anyway,
Yeah.
even if they didn't put me on a train track. But I understand why they would
But
have
you're
to do
not
that because they're trying
walking.
to get story
You're
across.
not the one walking.
No, you're on your chocobo.
Yeah, I'm fine with
Maybe.
that. If they're, I would rather, and this is the coolest part. One of the coolest parts to me about Monster Hunter is when you go to a new place for the first time, going to every zone and exploring it for yourself. Uh, I it sucks that they're kind of taking away that, giving you that freedom of discovery a little bit and having it be more set in the story and more
Yeah,
tutorialized. But that's fine. Once again, like, I understand why they're doing that. They're streamlining the game because they're trying to introduce people to it. The next game won't probably won't have as much as that. Hopefully, right? Unless they're just kind of fundamentally changing Monster Hunter at this point to be less niche. But if they, uh, but if you're gonna take the controller out of my hand, even though I don't want you to, if you're going to in this case, and I have to follow someone and go through this introduction to his own, I would much rather not be the one walking, because the one of the worst cases I can think of is playing like Shadow of Mordor, and you have to have this conversation with an NPC, but your walking speed is 3 times theirs.
yeah,
And I just
I
at
get
that
that.
point I just wanna sit back and watch.
Yeah,
So if you're gonna do that, if it's gonna be that kind of follow the person as they talk thing, then I'm fine with not controlling it. Even though I'd still rather be able to explore on my own. But
That makes me wonder if you would like Half-Life 2.
I don't know.
I want
I
to
think
do
I'd
a
like the
let's play of
first one,
Half-Life
but
2 or let's watch. I will watch you play it and give commentary all day. That'd be fun.
I need to play the first one first. It will happen eventually.
You don't have
yeah.
to, but it might help.
Um, that's all I got. Monster Hunter and World of Warcraft.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
so
you've been playing.
I beat Final Fantasy 7. I've kind of been um basically sick the past 2 weeks, no which is why no the video game previewer episodes I said that would be coming out have not come out. But this week, one of them will be coming out. And I've got actually 6 weeks of
Really,
stuff lined up to
you
come out. So
cannot postpone it again. You know that, right?
I can't. I
Uh,
can't at this point, or else no one will ever believe me, and I'll think of myself as a horribly lazy person. I promise I'm not, or I try not to be. Anyway, I beat Final Fantasy 7. It's it's it was incredible. I really don't have anything much else to say. I've
I've
always,
heard these things.
when trying to figure out what my favorite video game is, the kind of definition, and favorite movie and stuff like that, the kind of definition I've given to myself in terms of my favorite book or game or movie is something I don't really I don't really ever get frustrated at while playing, um, in like a bad way, a bad kind of frustrated, and that I would be willing to play at any moment, no matter what kind of content mood I'm in. Like, maybe I could be in the mood of having been playing a bunch of Monster Hunter, but if someone says, "Hey, do you want to play this game?" If it's my favorite game, even if I'm in a Monster Hunter mood, then I want to be willing to. Then I'd be willing to play that still. That's kind of how I define what is my favorite game. Um, and I don't know what my favorite games are. Like, I don't know what my top one is, but I know two of those games that I don't get frustrated playing it, and am uh, willing to play at any time, is Halo Combat Evolved is one of them, and then the other is Final Fantasy VII.
nice.
I
Damn.
I
So
absolutely
Counter Strike.
loved the game. I see Counter Strike more as a sport, Brandon,
Yeah.
personally, but that's just me. uh, but but yeah, the story is great, characters are great, the gameplay is so much fun. Um, it the music is so good. Uh, it's one of those games that you get really, and this is a lot of Final Fantasy games, but also a lot of really good story games that you think of. It's one of those games that you get so invested in that when you beat it, um, you feel kind of empty. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Oh,
you mourn the game a little bit that you have to leave the world. You just like got so invested and enjoyed it so much that you're sad that it's over. And you could obviously just go ahead and try to replay it. Like I have had to use all my every piece of willpower I have to not just like start playing the game again because I got stuff to do. But um, it it's a really good game. I really liked it. And I'm super excited to play remake. I don't know when that's gonna happen, but I I'm so hyped because there are some, I guess, issues that I do kind of have with Final Fantasy VII that, as far as I understand, or as far
Hmm.
as I know about remake, I think will have been addressed. And also, it's these characters and modern graphics and it's voice acting and it's they're taking the 50-hour game and between three parts making it 150 hours, but adding so much content that it's not like they're bloating everything. It just sounds awesome. I'm so excited. But then besides that, after I beat Final Fantasy VII, I went ahead and because I'm just beating games to review them right now. I did Link to the Past. It's a good time,
Oh,
good
okay.
game.
Zelda.
Yeah. So gonna there will one after the Final Fantasy VII review comes out, Link to the Past will come out. Yeah,
Is
it was fun.
what's your favorite Zelda game?
I've no idea. I don't know. Uh, Breath of the Wild's really good, although I really like I really like Zelda for its stories. And Breath of the Wild is a 10 out of 10 game that has really good it's the one open world game that is never boring. That everything it's packed full of is awesome. It's also the way the story is told. It's not like as narrative driven as other Zelda games. Link to the Past is super good. And I like Majora's Mask. But those are kind of the ones I've spent most of my time with. Is I played Miners Cap. I played Zelda one. I think I made it to the last dungeon of Zelda one. I didn't beat that, but I've beat Link to the Past really good. Majora's Mask really good. Breath of the Wild really good. I don't know that I have a favorite though. I'd really have to think about it. What about you, Scott? It's Link Between Worlds, right?
I like Link to the Past, but Link Between Worlds is just better. Well, it's not better. I don't think you can say that, one is better than the other. Although if you're going to say that graphics and controls or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
um, I just prefer Link Between Worlds. I played that game a lot on my DS, my 3DS.
3DS.
But yeah, that one's a good time. I like. They've never used it again, to my knowledge. Although they're kind of trying to do something with that with Tears of the Kingdom. But the wall merging is really cool. It's a really cool. What do you call
Mechanic.
that? Gaming
Yeah.
element. Um, I don't know. I know there are games that have done things similar to that before, but being able to merge into a wall and become a painting and move across the map to get to, like around a puzzle or something, that's kind of cool. I like it,
Yeah.
and I like the story, and it's in a
is
world that I'm familiar with. So that's the one.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Do you have any we've Scott and I have both talked a lot. Do you have any comments, Brandon, on any of that? Any
Not really. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I yeah.
All right.
Sorry,
All right. Well
I'm
then
kind of at a
let's
loss on
let
that one.
let's address our revisit our question of the week from the beginning of this month. Our question of the month from the beginning of the month because we're still in the month. Uh, so we
What was
asked
that?
we asked, what is your favorite game franchise? I said Final Fantasy. Scott said
Ooh.
Monster Hunter. Brandon, you said simply because of the amount of hours you put into World of Warcraft. You said Warcraft. Um, we didn't get. We only got a reply. A other person who added to the question.
I'm
Scott,
excited to
our
hear this.
dad. He said his favorite is and he specifically pointed out 3 games being the reason. Dad said his favorite video game franchise is Mario, specifically because of NES Mario 1, Mario 2, Mario 3.
Dang. He's an OG.
Yeah. And that's not his favorite game. His
Mario
favorite
Man.
game is Zelda 1.
Yep.
But
He's the king.
because those he loved all those 3 Mario games. Those are and other Mario games he's played. He has what is it? New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe on the Switch and stuff. Like he loves Mario. So but I
Yeah.
thought it'd be interesting if we instead of just thinking about what our top 1 is, if we just for this episode ask the question, well, what's your number 2 and number 3? Because that could open
Oh
up the
boy.
discussion a little bit. So, what is we know each other's top 1? What is your 2 and your 3?
Oh man. I feel like we should have discussed this before the episode so that we had more time to think.
You had time to think. Yeah.
Say the question one more time for me. Sorry.
So, what we know, what your favorite video game franchise is. What is your second and third favorite?
Ugh.
Oh man.
Franchise?
Yeah.
Dawn of War is number 2 for sure.
Okay, so that's your second.
Okay, number 3. I want to say Counter-Strike, but I'm not sure I can. I love Counter-Strike, but I've only ever played Go and 2.
Well, you said you said Warcraft was your number 1 just because of how much you liked WoW. So I
Yeah,
think you could get away with saying Counter Strike again because of
potentially.
hours. You spent so many.
I mean, by that logic, I could say the same thing about Dark Souls, though. That's
Well,
a tough.
is that
That's
one
a
of your
really.
favorite franchises?
I love Dark Souls 3 specifically. I've played a good bit of Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 2 is good. I don't know. I'm thinking out loud right now. That's a really tough question because I also really like Fallout. I think Fallout is an amazing game series. That's so hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not. It's never easy picking favorites. It never is.
I figured mine out.
Okay, I want to hear them.
I'm glad that
if
I
Final
find
Fantasy isn't my second, then it's Zelda. And then after that, it's probably the Sonic franchise.
Good man.
So
So
it's
probably Sonic and Zelda right now.
okay. So so Monster Hunter's your favorite, and then it's Sonic and Zelda.
Yeah.
Okay, and not Final Fantasy.
Final
Or-
Fantasy's pretty close, but I have
Okay.
to be in a mood for Final
Okay.
Fantasy.
Okay.
Zelda and Sonic, I can usually those are my comfort games. I can pick
Yeah.
those up whenever.
Which Sonic games though?
I'm gonna
Because
die.
there's only
Oh boy.
there's so few good ones. Just,
I mean, I'll still play them.
they can still be fun.
I just got Sonic Colors on the PS4 or PS5, so I'll play
Sonic
that.
is
Although
really-
that game was great, but what?
I don't
Sonic
like
on
it
Wii.
anymore. I used to like it when we played it on the Wii, but I tried playing Ultimate like a year or two ago or something, and it's just not for me anymore. But I totally get why the people that do like it do like it. Yeah.
I like them. I'm always gonna like them. You have to remember, I like speed. I like games that are really freaking
Yes.
fast, and Sonic gives me that speed.
I
Deja
I
vu.
like the opposite.
Yeah,
I'm like, why are you trying to get
that's
me to?
true.
Yeah,
He's too fast. You're trying to get me to platform. He's going too fast. I can't. Or I want to see what's going on. And when you're just boosting and blasting past everything, bothers me a little bit. But uh, Sonic Mania, wonderful.
Sonic Mania is really good.
Yeah, yeah. My number two is Zelda. Number three is harder.
What's your number
Um,
three?
that's hard to figure out because I like Halo, but a lot of my love for Halo, although I do like the games a lot, comes from the expanded universe. Um, so then I'd be tempted to say like Metroid or Mega Man.
Wow. Okay.
Um,
Metroid, man.
and then there's Mario and Spyro and Sly Cooper. I really like those. But I think uh, just because there's so many Spyro games, I just like the first three. I haven't played any of the other ones, but I don't think I'd like them.
the
And then
Ignited trilogy is
Mario, I've
so.
just got a few 3D games of that I really like. So I think I would have to go with Mega Man. Yeah, think it's Final Fantasy, Zelda, and Mega Man for me.
That's a
Yeah.
respectable set.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's something you guys learned this week or recently?
Uh,
Learn anything interesting? Anything
I
new?
actually have a good answer for this now.
Okay.
here's
Um, I think it was last episode. I say episode it's like what 2 weeks ago.
hmm
I talked about listening to like lectures from Brandon Sanderson
Yeah.
and some of the other YouTubers out there. Booktube, book talk. I don't do TikTok, but I think that's what they call it. Um, I've been getting into or learning the storytelling process a little bit more and understanding what makes a good story and why certain things have to happen in stories um, for things to be good or what makes sense. And so, I think this is something that you've definitely learned. You definitely learned a long time ago because you're a lot better at noticing these things than I have been. Because you made a bunch of movie reviews and stuff, but I watch movies now, and I've watched a couple movies the last couple days that I'm looking at it and I'm seeing, oh, this is how you would write this, or this is how you would outline this as a story.
hmm
This is why this thing has to happen so that this makes sense for later in the story. Um, so I guess understanding the storytelling process has
Yeah.
been something that I have learned a little bit more, and I feel a little bit more knowledgeable about. That's my answer.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. What about you, Brandon?
this is one of those moments where it's just gonna like escape my brain. I'm sure I've learned stuff, and I'm just not able to think of it right now. If I'm honest with you.
Yeah, you got a head cold.
Sorry.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Brandon, you've learned how much tea you can drink in one day.
oh, I learned that years ago.
Oh,
8 out of 10, baby.
wow, that's a lot of tea.
What scares me the most is I haven't had to pee in the last 30 minutes. Like
Do you
it's
have to
not even like
pee?
I don't even have to. That's the problem.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've had all this tea and I'm like, oh no, this is gonna be like releasing the floodgates later.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I
I
had
can let
a
you know.
half
I
gallon
definitely
of
have to go
water,
right now.
or maybe I remember one day, before youth, back when I was like 14 or something, before youth group, I hadn't had much water, and so I had this gallon bottle of water, and I had like 6/10 of the bottle in like 20 minutes,
Okay, great.
and didn't have to pee for 2 hours. And then I just really had to be really bad for the rest of the day, constantly, like every 20 minutes, just going to the bathroom, man. Uh, yeah, then
The overflowing storm.
yeah,
What a name.
Ooh.
I don't think I like that at all.
The overflowing storm.
The overflowing.
Oh, that's you. Oh my gosh, I thought I had a bug on my leg or something, but it was just my cat underneath my desk, and her whiskers were. I just died. Her whiskers were tickling
Again?
my knee.
Grief.
It
that's funny.
spooked me. Oh.
I Something I learned is that uh the you it's March. It is what is it? It is March 17th right now, and we already have to mow the lawn.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. In Alaska, where I grew up, where we grew up, where we're all from, in interior Alaska,
Yep.
uh, you the ground is covered with snow for 9 months of the year, and you have to mow the lawn for the other three. It's the opposite here. There's there's not 3 months of snow. There's more like 3 weeks, but there's like 3 months of cold, and the other nine you have to mow the lawn. Already, like I already, it's I can't wrap my head around the fact that I'm gonna be mowing the lawn in a few days. Already in March. Normally it'd be in like June. I don't know what happened. Uh, Missouri is just different.
Do
That's
you
what I learned.
have people in your day to day, your new day to day life, that are mesmerized by you being an Alaskan or from Alaska at the very least?
I I
Like you
think
say, I'm from Alaska, and they're like, "Whoa, isn't it always cold there?"
yeah, whenever I meet new people, they're always they I kind of I've kind of grown to I like meeting new people, but I just don't love to mention always that I'm from Alaska anymore because they just ask all these questions, and it's not like
The same questions.
I don't want to answer them or am it's just I'd rather like let's let me spend the next 5 minutes actually getting to know you and genuinely like learning about you before you have to go wherever instead of just you grilling me on Alaska. Like what's your name?
Yeah.
Can we figure that out
Yeah, I
first?
talked to this guy the other day. Did not tell me his name. He just talked about how he was
Oh,
from
he's from
Alaska.
Alaska. Oh,
He's from
yeah.
Alaska. He must be a robot that will just answer every question I've ever asked.
What is that it, Nate?
Yeah, I guess any final thoughts before we
Oh, yeah. I
wrap it
forget
up?
what I was talking about. I was wondering if you learned anything else, but
Oh,
okay.
no.
Um,
That's the one thing I could come up with. I have to mow
We're all
the
so full of
lawn in
energy
March.
today, my goodness.
bro, I think we're all just tired.
Scott's done with
Goodness.
work. I got a head cold. Nathaniel's going through stuff. Oh
Yeah,
man.
last week there were a lot happened last week, and it was just a lot, not a whole lot of sleep happening. Are you under my feet again? So I was kind of tired, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
final thoughts.
Yeah, any
We've been going
things you want to say
in
or
it.
whatever?
So I can say I have painted a plane now. That's cool.
Yeah.
Let's
Uh,
go.
yeah.
Woo.
Sorry,
Yeah.
were we not supposed to get super hyped there?
No, please get super hyped. I really enjoy it. It's good for my self
Let's
esteem. Um, yeah, that's it.
go.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Uh We'll call it there. We'll
This
call it there.
episode.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd be interested in asking us questions live while we record the show, head to patreon.com/h7bus for more info. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May he make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. We will see you in 2 weeks.